All right, Xtreme, welcome to session 2. I'm excited to see how much progress we made from session 1. I know you haven't had a lot of time to work on the assignments, but let's just get a gauge of how much time and effort you're devoting to this. We still got a few folks that are going to be logging in, but that's okay. I'm recording this, so the recording will be available to all y'all as well. So let's jump right in because we have a lot to cover. We're going to review the assignments from session 1, and hopefully this will not be a painful experience. So how many of you went ahead and completed the 100 formula sheet? And for those that you did, if you just want to unmute yourself, or if you want to type into the chat, how many sides are you going to have to do to accomplish your goal? And how many leads per day does that equate to? So how many sides do you need to do? And how many leads per day would you need to generate in order to accomplish that goal? Anybody want to be first? Then all raise your hands at once, folks. You're overwhelming me. Slow down. Take it easy. Okay. Yeah. Sounds about right. Let's see. Nothing in the chat. All right. So you know that if you don't work out the numbers, it's kind of like bowling, and they have a sheet in front of the pins. You never even know how many you hit because you don't know what to strive for. So Anthony, thank you, brother. I need 2 leads per day. All right. You see how doable that is? Anna, 3. Now keep in mind, leads aren't prospects. Your goal is to convert them into prospects, but leads is someone that has, I don't know what they've done. Maybe they fill out a form on your website. Maybe they responded to one of your social media posts. Maybe it's a name that you got from someone from making your calls. It's someone that may be buying in the next month, or someone that may not be buying for the next 3 or 4 years. But a lead is a lead, and this is a numbers game. If you are in the sheet, then by all means do so. Backwards and know just how many leads you need per day to convert to prospects, to convert to appointments, to convert to contracts, to convert to closings. You start taking charge of your career at that point. Time is the most precious commodity we have, right? We all have the same number of hours in a day. Are you tracking your daily activities? Are you using the time study sheet? Are you already beginning the process of time blocking your real estate career time? Anthony writes, I need 43 work hours a week to work in my business. Now, 43 hours per week in the real estate business, if you're doing it full time, that's very doable. To try to put 43 hours in, okay, but are you working full time in real estate, or you got another gig? Because sometimes when you put that burden of having to work that many hours, okay, full time in real estate, right? You're set. That's a very doable goal. I love it. Next, accountability buddies. I saw a lot of text going back and forth yesterday, so I'm assuming more and more of you got your accountability buddy set up. If you haven't, get on it. As I mentioned before, it doesn't have to be someone that's part of this group. It could be someone in real estate, period. It could be someone as part of Xtreme. I did that person there. Your excuses start to fall by the wayside because that person's going to hold you accountable. That's the whole point, right? And then you got to meet with each other and agree upon a schedule. And then you got to agree upon what to do with that schedule. And I hope that role playing is going to be a big part of the scheduling. But let me tell you what the most important thing you all can do together. Ready? Write this down. Prospect. You got to prospect together. The role playing is just practice. You might become an exceptional role player. You sound amazing in role playing scenarios, but you won't talk to a human being. That doesn't do you any good. So don't get into the getting ready to get ready. Get ready enough to go start talking to some people. We're not going to get into what goals that you set because I have a lot of other content to go ahead and cover. But I hope you understand that there's something very, very important about not just writing down your goals, but visualizing yourselves having accomplished. You need it. Now, I do thing up. I've already told you what my weaknesses were and what I'm having to give up in order to become more efficient, more effective. Can anybody here willing to be transparent and share what it is that you need to surrender or give up or cut back on in order to make yourself more readily available to succeed in real estate? Anyone? Cut back on social media. Yeah, if social media is about entertainment versus entertainment and a lot of business or a lot of business and some entertainment, yeah, it can hurt you. I mean, if you're monitoring social media for opportunities to comment on someone to gain a better following for your real estate business or sharing somebody's post that can create more, I don't know, engagement for yours, that's a great expenditure of time. But if it's about TikTok and learning dances, I'm not saying that's you, Anthony, but I know there's a lot of folks that that's what their social media is. Then a lot of social media envy starts to creep in because when you look at social media, everybody's more beautiful, they're more handsome, they look better, they do more things. And before you know it, you start to kind of hate yourself. So be careful with social media envy. All right, CB, I like the fact that you're sending 10 letters a week out. That's fantastic. Okay, but here's it. I'm going to challenge you to do 10 per day. See, 10 per week, bro, 1 point something per day. You're a strong, handsome young man. You can do more than that. So if you can knock out 10 without straining, you're not doing enough. Find a number that can push you more. Keep in mind that the ones you don't mail now that maybe you mail next week or the week after is someone that could be buying or selling a home through somebody else right now. Then you'll find out and then you'll feel like crap. So my advice is to do more of what you're doing. Carol says, being distracted, setting a bedtime to be more punctual, starting my day. Absolutely. You know what? One of the mistakes I think people make is they use their phone as their alarm clock. You know, I think 99% of folks do that, right? So what tends to happen is your cell phone wakes you up, and the minute you do open it up, the first thing you do is you turn to social media. And then, or the first thing you do is you open up your text or you open up your email. You know what happens at that point? Whatever plans you had for the day are gone because your priorities now become whatever priority was imposed upon you. Someone's going to send you an email, something that they need, something you forgot, something that they didn't do. And all of a sudden, everything else just goes ahead and stops. My old boss used to call it worshiping at the altar of Outlook. You know, so be careful. Be careful. What about you know, my son was having some challenges waking up, and I said, boy, get yourself an old-fashioned alarm clock. You know, in the old days, it would be like ding, 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 ding. And he did. He got the old-fashioned with the two little bells on top, and you don't put it near your bed. You put it far enough away that you literally have to get out of bed to turn it off or throw something at it. You have to trick yourself. You got to do these things in order to go ahead and get going. So old-fashioned alarm clock. And then at that point, maybe the first thing you do is you drop down on your knees and you give thanks to God that you're alive another day and that you have an opportunity to work the greatest business on earth. So this is all something that helps you to set your day. What I started doing the last couple of days that I did get up early, I went ahead and said, okay, what am I going to use this time? I said, okay, let me brew my coffee because without coffee, I don't function. And then instead of getting the coffee and going straight to my desk, I got the coffee and I sat down on the sofa and I'm drinking the coffee and I'm reflecting. I'm thinking about, okay, I want to thank God for the blessings that I have. I want to talk about thinking about the things that I want to accomplish that day. It kind of helps me to center myself more before I say, let me go into that jungle called my desk and my email. So something to think about, okay? Now, the video challenge, okay? If you guys posted me, tagged me, I haven't seen it. So has anybody posted anything yet real estate related in the last 2 or 3 days and tagged me to satisfy that little requirement in the assignment stage? So, okay, still working on it. Be careful. Years can go by and you're still working on it. Now, I'm going to challenge Ashley because I know that she is a social media queen. There is no doubt that if she put her mind to it, she could knock one out tonight. Hint, hint, no pressure, no pressure, but I know it can be done. Wonderful things happen with video. Guess what's happened with social media? Photos are out. Photos are out. You guys know that, right? Video is king. It's all about video. Once you get in the habit of it, here's an idea. Again, sometimes I'll go off the deep end, but forgive me. But content is king when it comes to video. And Troy is an expert at it. I can't wait till next week's session when he's talking about YouTube. But oftentimes people will say, I don't know what kind of videos to do. Some of the most powerful videos you could do are interviews. When you interview somebody else that's in the business, that could be beneficial. Example, could an interview with a loan officer be beneficial? With a title officer, with a real estate attorney? See what I'm saying? One of the things that has made so much money for people that real estate agents refuse to do? Go out and do on-site interviews with businesses and merchants. Think about how many merchants are in the plaza where our office is. And you think that any of our agents in the history of Xtreme, we're 12 years, has ever walked up to the place next door that cooks something? I forget what it is they cook. They do some kind of, what's the name of that tea they do over there, Jeanette?
Boba tea.
There is a workout place. There is a dent. Local real estate professional, and I want to showcase local. I'll just ask you some really easy questions, and then once this is ready, I'll share it and tag you, and then you can go ahead and share it with. And guess what? They're sharing yours. Okay. Everybody else hearing me okay? Everybody else is hearing me okay? Because one person. Okay. All right. So my voice is cutting out. No. That's impossible. That's impossible. Okay. How's that? Is that any better? Okay.
It's
All right.
just, Tony, it's just every so often I'll see your mouth moving and not hear anything.
Yeah, it could be the connection. Hold on one quick second. Okay. All right. So that idea, who's up to that challenge of going ahead and interviewing merchants? You know that if you'd have made a commitment of posting consistently on Wednesdays, for example, you have to have consistency. You can't do a post one day and then they don't hear from you for 3 years. But what if Wednesday is the day you post some type of community or some type of real estate information, and that gives you an entire week to go ahead and find a merchant or contributor. In fact, you can record several in one day and just release them once per week. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's something you go ahead and need to do. One quick second. All right.
Hey, Tony.
Talk to me.
Yeah, when you interview, what are some of the questions you want to ask them?
Well, you want softball questions, right? You don't want anything that potentially embarrass them. So if you're a merchant, what would you like to know? Hey, so tell me, how long have you been in business? What is it you primarily do? What motivated you to start this business? What is your value proposition? What makes you the one person in this category or one business that someone should go to? You know, if there was one thing you wanted the audience to know that makes you special, that makes you unique, what would that be? And in closing, do you have any type of promotions or any type of specials or something that you want to let everyone here know about to make sure that they ask about it? Great. And we're going to put it on the screen, but why not go ahead and out loud tell them how where you're located, and if they have more questions, they can reach out to you.
Okay.
That work?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Now, how many of you, if any, have made the phone calls to your circle of influence or sphere of influence to go ahead and see if they have any referrals for you, the challenge one? Okay. All right, so how did that go? How many of you made, Carol? How many calls? You made a total of 3 calls? Okay. You know you're gonna need a lot more, right? Now, by some miracle, that out of those 3 calls, did you get a lead? Because that would be really something special. Okay, so I'm sensing or hearing or some hesitancy in you guys doing this. Now, let me ask you something. Who are you hurting by not doing this? Is it me? No, my skin's tougher than that. Yourselves. So think about that. Remember what I said during session 1, and some of you may have thought, man, Tony, that was kind of harsh, because I do lean toward the tough love side. But if you cannot call people that know, like, and trust you and love you to talk about real estate, how are you planning on making it in this business? I mean, why even bother discussing prospecting to FSBOs and expireds? FSBOs eat their young. Expireds, they're horrible people. All these things, right? You hear all these stories. My goodness. Yeah, sometimes talking to strangers is easy. Sometimes, yeah. But at the end of the day, talk to somebody. You know, talk to somebody. This has got to be something that's ongoing. Okay. I'm going to ask a really dumb question right now, and stick with me here. Are there any secret agents in this group here right now? Any secret agents? If you were sitting in front of me right now in a classroom environment, would you have a name badge on? Would I know what you did for a living? Do you have an LPT shirt, an Xtreme by LPT hat? I don't know. Do you even have business cards? Do you have an app? Do you have a website that you can point people to? Do you exist? Are you for real? Because oftentimes people want to jump 5 steps ahead and they don't have the basics. Do you have a business card? No. An app? No. A website? Maybe. I don't know what the address is. Really hard to take a lot of steps forward when you don't have the basics done. Ask anybody that's been in the business several years if they've ever received business by having a name badge on, and they'll tell you, yeah. No, you don't get FSBO lists from LPT. I'll share with you in a little bit where you can get FSBO lists. Anyway, guys, it's up to you. You know what the assignments are. You can ignore them. It's all right. Me, I work the numbers game as well. You know, I do a class for 15 people in hopes that 1 or 2 will actually implement this. Then I'll do another round. Keep in mind, Gabby and I have about 140 members on our team. If 140 members of our team were producing, I'd be driving a much nicer car. This is a business of numbers. We know that the 90-10 rule applies. Now, it used to be called the Pareto principle, which was the 80-20 rule, that 20% of the people of the salespeople, for example, would produce 80% of the sales. It's now 90-10. In any given office or any team, 10% do 90% of the business. That's right. Out of our 140 plus agents, probably 10% or so produce 90% of the business. Remember, 71% of realtors last year did not do a single closing. So I, as a team leader, I have to cast a wide net. When I'm out there trying to attract agents, I don't use a fishing pole. I use a net because I need to gather up as many people to then filter and vet. You need to do the same thing. You can't make 3 phone calls a week or even a day. The numbers will never add up in your favor. So keep that in mind, put that why you need to succeed, and then see if that'll motivate you to get that going. And again, this contest one works. I've seen it work over and over again, and it makes for a perfect video. This is a great video. And then your friends that know you and family will chime in and go, girl, I know how competitive you are. I know you're going to win this. Why not get as much help as possible? What's everyone's number that they need to reach? That's different. I was hoping that you guys would do at least 25 between session 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You know, that's just like 5 a day, or less than 4 or 5 a day would be great. Maybe you only have lunchtime to make. I would start by calling people at lunchtime. Most often than not, people will pick up the phone because they got to eat. But then you kind of mix it up and see which time of the day you get the best response. That's why you track your activities, you track your production. Again, the principle here, we're all here, we're all participate. What scares me is, okay, here's the plan, right? Here's what I hope will happen after 4 sessions. After 4 sessions, depending upon where somebody was at the beginning, that they progressed, that they went up the pyramid. Let's say you start rock bottom right here. You're brand new, okay? What's the first step? You're at the participate level. God bless you. And I'm not just talking about participating in these sessions we're doing. We're talking about all the training the board does, LPT does, other instructors do. But remember this, you got to get to proficiency, ideally, before you get to prospects. I once met a gal at a class that was spending $1,000 a month for Zillow leads. And I go, and she showed me her dashboard, and she had all of these leads that came in the zip code that she was in. And here's the problem. She hadn't called any single one of them. And I asked her why. She goes, I don't know what to say. I go, if you don't know what to say, why did you choose to make the investment before you knew what to say? She jumped over a level. And that can happen. Get your script down, get your conversation down. What is your value proposition? Why would somebody work with you? Why should a buyer choose you? Why would a seller choose you? Why should someone sending a referral choose you? Now, the role playing is going to help you. It's going to help you immensely. And then you don't spend too long. And yeah, maybe you're saying, well, Tony, but you're contradicting yourself. You're asking me to find out if they know anybody that may want to buy and sell real estate. What if they give me a name? Well, that's a good problem to have. If they give you a name, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to call them that very moment. You now have to say, man, I really got to get on my horse and know what to say. And that's when you ask the group here, hey, if I'm calling someone out of the blue, what should I say? There's going to be a certain level of discomfort. I've talked about that in session 1. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not working hard enough. The first time you work with a prospect, you're going to feel a tad to a lot unsure of yourself. And the way to mitigate that is by practicing and training as much as possible. You don't want to struggle on the MLS searching for a listing with a prospect sitting in front of you. How can you have your first buyer consultation with someone and not really efficiency quickly so that your prospects start to grow? Then your conversion rate also comes as part of your proficiency. So you go into appointment mode and you go into contracts and you go into profit. We all here, and some of you are already up here. Some of you are already producing, but you want to produce more. Well, what's holding you back from producing more? Maybe you're not leveraging enough. You're not leveraging the technology and the tools that are out there to help you manage the business you have better so that you can take on more customers. All of these things, us as individuals need to decide what is holding us back. Now, the mindset discussion in session 1 was all about be positive, have the right mindset. You know that whatever the man can, mind of man can achieve. What is it again? But the mind of man can conceive and believe the mind of man can achieve. Oh yeah, rah. Hey, listen, a farmer needs to do more than pray over a field. A farmer needs to actually plant the seeds and make sure that they're watered. I get it. But what about overcoming adversity? This is the flip side of real estate. And I wanted to share a story about what happened with Gabi at a recent closing, or a closing that almost didn't happen. Now, she had been working with this lady for months on 2 things, helping her to try to sell her property in Davie, which was listed for almost $1 million, and simultaneously helping her to find a property. Well, after months, she's got both under contract. Everything is happening. The day of closing is upon us, right? On the day of closing, the buyer of the $1 million property, remember, she's representing the seller in that case, and the seller's buying something else. The buyer gets a letter, an email from their large bank, I won't mention the name, saying, we need you to pay off this thing, and we need it paid off from this account. And the process of doing it could take as long as 30 days to do it the way they did. And here they are hitting them up on the day of closing. Okay. Now imagine the kind of money that was at stake there commission-wise. All right. All right. We're all human. We already start to spend the money in our minds before we even made it. And here you are telling me on the day of closing that we're not closing. Okay. So the first thing you do is you go through all these emotions. The emotions are there. You're angry, you're frustrated, you're scared, and everything else. There's not a single human being that can go through all that. And Gabi is the best realtor I know. She handles it like a pro. But after our anniversary, we're supposed to go out there and celebrate. And you're telling me that part of the celebration was to celebrate these 2 closings. It wasn't going to happen that day. And to add insult to injury, Gabi has a policy. She hates working with the big banks because the big banks are notorious for screwing up deals. And she had told the buyer's agent that. And if you think, okay, so why did you go forward with it? Well, keep in mind, the market has shifted. There aren't a ton of buyers out there for every property anymore. And this was the only solid buyer that they had. So they had no choice but to go with them. Long story short, the buyer's father was able to wire her $500,000. Nice situation. And they anteed up the rest and they were able to close the next day. But you're going to have closings that fall apart. You're going to have deals that come unraveled. Sometimes it's your fault. And you know what? That really bothers me when it's the agent's fault, because it's usually, no, it is preventable. You know, you don't want a deal to fall apart because you missed a deadline, because you didn't take care of business. That's inexcusable. That actually sets you up for legal issues. Sometimes the inspection, sometimes something pops up at the credit. You know what sometimes a buyer will do? That 2 or 3 days before closing, they'll go out there and buy a boat, or they'll go out there and buy a car, and they finance it. And guess what happens? That kills the financing on the house. So some things are avoidable, like during the purchase of this home. Thou shalt not buy anything on credit. And a lot of agents don't even do that. And they're like, why did that buyer do that? Because you didn't tell them not to. But be prepared for disappointment. Be prepared to want to quit the business. I have met very few realtors, if they're being honest with me, that haven't from time to time said, I hate this business. that haven't said, I hate people, that haven't said, I'm going to go get a real job. Because it's that taxing, it's that difficult, it's that emotionally draining. So that's when you're going to have to suck it up. And that's when you're going to have to really, really fall back on what your why is. And I hope and pray that you have a support system around you at home, that when you reach those low levels in your career, you're going to have some off base here. You've been in the business, I don't know, a couple of years. Has any of these situations ever happened to you? I don't know. Did Troy hear me or?
I did not hear you, brother. I'm sorry. What I got from your question, though, was disappointing things happen. And yes, I've had a lot of things like that happen. Matter of fact, I'll share if you want. Last month, on a very expensive home, I think it was all of about $185,000. So my commission was my retirement plan of, I don't know, $4,000. And we got to day 28 and the buyer missed a payment on day 21 on their car and didn't tell anyone, and also didn't tell anyone that they were 3 months behind on the car. So on day 28, the lender pulled the loan. So yeah, that kind of stuff happens. I could probably tell 100 stories.
Yep.
You know, our job is to provide a service to help somebody with whatever pain they're going through and give them a solution for their situation. And sometimes our situation becomes, I'm in pain now because I already spent that $1,500 on on something I wanted to spend money on. So I don't think it matters how long we're in the business. We still make mistakes in the business with our own money. But the key thing is that we have to constantly keep reminding people through the process. I don't know. I guess my point is, I'm sorry, Tony, you've got me so excited. I'm ready to like cold call for sale by owners right now. Every time I talk to you, man, I get fired up.
Good, brother. I mean, coming from a veteran, that means a lot. Hey guys, I switched microphones. Is that helping at all? You guys hear me okay? So let's
Yeah,
see.
that sounds good.
Okay, so I'm trying that. So yeah, guys. So the horror stories are there, left and right. Now the thing is, you got to be careful that you just don't. What do you say? You try to drown your troubles away, but the wrong way, and your troubles have learned to swim. So you know what happens is it gets tougher and to drown them away. Just understand, be prepared, but also that's why you want to be working multiple deals. You cannot have all your eggs in one basket. You can't have one buyer that you're working with. You can't have one transaction only. I've seen agents become so possessive, hugging that one customer that they have with everything they got, and they're not doing any prospecting. They're not feeding the beast at all. And one of two things is going to happen, man. That deal is going to close and you're going to be excited. God bless you, but you don't have anything else in the hopper. You got nothing. Or God forbid the deal doesn't close. You're devastated and you got nothing in the hopper. So it's like you got a buyer, great, get 5 more. You got a listing, great, go get 3 more. You need to build up a strong pipeline. Remember your why. Your why is what keeps you going. Any single time that, so what's the alternative? If, you know, for me, people, no one says, Tony, what's your why? My why is simple, that I never have to work for anybody ever again. Because the toughest decision, the toughest thing I ever had to do was go to work for someone. I was born an entrepreneur. I feel that's in my DNA. And the toughest thing for me was when in 2008, I had no choice because I had failed miserably at everything I was doing and made really bad decisions. I had to go work for someone. Now, because God is good and God has a plan, guess who I went to work for? The CDPE. And by going to work for the CDPE, and for those 2.5 years that I was there, not only did I get back on my feet, but I learned a whole new trade. But every day, it was tough being told what to do, when to go, and be gone. I was gone every single week. And I had a wife and 2 young kids. I had to make that sacrifice. I had to put my ego aside for 2.5 years to get back on my feet again. I'm not motivated by money. Nothing wrong with it. Money is not the root of all evil, folks. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. Remember that. Money is just a commodity. You can do great things with money. But that's not my motivation. I drive a 2013 truck. My motivation is never, ever putting my family through what I put them through before. So those things will keep you going. Now, let's talk about mentorship, because I'm really concerned about the time it's taking for some of the newer agents to get in the membership program. It is a requirement within Xtreme by LPT when you're brand new to be in the mentorship program. I do 99% of the hiring on the team, so I know what conversations we've had. And since I forget conversations sometimes, you know why I forget conversations? Because I write everything in writing, so I don't have to remember the conversation. Look at your team agreement, and if it says on there, you must have a mentor for at least one transaction, that's written in gold, in blood right there. Make sure that you have using the mentorship. Now, the other thing about the mentorship is you don't have to be a brand new agent to benefit from having a mentor. You know, there are agents that have been in the business for a while, but they're in a slump. You'll see professional athletes turn to a coach and say, what am I doing wrong? Maybe they're changed their stance, they're dropping their elbow, they're not doing what they were doing before. You can benefit from mentorship. Now, the way we do it, I think it's a very equitable way. For example, LPT as a corporation, as an entity, requires mentorship on people that are brand new or lacking in production. I know it's not being enforced. I know it's not being enforced. Then it becomes something that is up to the individual teams when it's a team, right? LPT has corporate approved mentors, and I believe they get 25% on your first 3 deals. Now, that's good because the percentage is not bad at all, but they make it mandatory to be on 3 deals. The other thing too is that mentor may be in Tallahassee. They're not going to go with you to a listing presentation. They're not going to go with you to a buyer consultation. When we joined LPT, we received approval to grandfather in our mentors. I said, look, I got mentors I know, like, and trust, and I want them to be able to continue to be mentors for our company. And it was approved. Now, this is our page from our website. I'm listed there because they needed a pretty face to put on there, but I'll mentor someone when it comes to a short sale transaction. If someone said, Tony, no, you don't understand. I don't want to just simply come to you when I have a question. I need you there with me every step of the way. We'll work out a percentage that will be motivation for me to go ahead and do it. Gabi will only mentor somebody when it comes to a listing. What we've had done is, like, she won't, like, if you're working with buyers, she's not going to mentor you. We have the other mentors there. As a team leader, she's there to answer questions. But what a mentor does is beyond what the team leader can do. The mentor is actually holding your hand. The mentor is actually physically going with you to a presentation. Those things that as team leaders, we cannot do. But we've had several agents that their first transaction is the sale of their own home. And they're like, I want to work with the best. Well, no disrespect to any of our other mentors, but all of them will tell you Gabi is the very best. So she makes herself available in those limited scenarios. The other ones, what we encourage you to do is reach out to 1, 2, 3 of them and set up a time to do an interview, either in person or over Zoom, because you got to click. You got to click. Now, whatever they're going to charge is between you 2 guys. It could be 40%, it could be 50%, it could be less. It's completely up to what you need and what they're willing to do. And then whatever you agree upon, they're going to create an agreement and then it's signed by me. The good thing, another good thing besides them being physically there, is they don't make you sign multiple deals. You guys can agree to just be on one transaction. And if you learn enough on that one that you don't need them going forward, fantastic. Or if you need them some more, you'll do it. But that is something that if you haven't already located your mentor, make sure that you take care of that right away. Do you have any questions on what we covered so far, in particular on the mentorship side? Any questions at all? All right, all right, all right. All right, you're not taking advantage, you're not asking the questions, and you're gonna wonder later, why didn't I ask this guy when I had a chance? Okay, RDR, public service announcement. Realtors don't read. This is a fact. People don't read, but realtors in general hate reading. What do I mean by that? Well, almost every day we have an issue with one of our team members on the commission split, on the commission intake form, on something like that, to say, I didn't know that LPT had a yearly fee. I didn't know this. I didn't know this. Now you have to understand that agents already embarrassing themselves because everything is in the ICA. ICA stands for Independent Contractor Agreement. All of you signed one when you joined LPT. The concern I have, did you read it? Have you read it since then? Do you understand how the fees work? Because we should be celebrating when you have a closing. We shouldn't be, but that just brings it all down. You know, it shouldn't happen. We send emails like crazy. You know what the biggest struggle Gabi and I have? There are a lot of them. Our agents don't read the emails we send out. When you joined us, we sent you a welcome email and subsequent emails. Most never get open, much less read. And that's where the misunderstandings begin. Read the ICA. Read the team agreement, because we have that all the time. Well, I thought I was on the 100% plan with LPT. Why am I paying you a split? Well, you are on the 100% plan with LPT, but you are on a team and you agreed that this was the team split. Look, another FYI, because I want to avoid misunderstandings. Some of the folks at our company now are in their second year, right? Remember, we every year you reset, right? We have a cap system. So you have an anniversary date with LPT and everything resets every year. It's not a calendar year, it's based on your anniversary year. When you always have one $500 fee on your first closing of every year, of every anniversary year, $500. What does that cover? It covers E&O. So, you know, errors and omissions insurance has to be paid for somehow. So the company right away is at risk. The minute that you sign on, they're at risk. So we don't ask for any money up front. There's no sign-up fee for LPT, but there is that $500 fee that comes out of your first closing. Okay. Now, if you're in your second year and you didn't close anything in your first year, but you closed something in your second year, it's going to be 500 twice. And agents get mad and say, you had the use of all of the systems, all of the tools, dot loop, website, all of these things you had. Now, that has to be paid for somehow. So I want everyone to take time to read over the ICAs, to read over the team agreements, and then the next thing I need you guys to read are the contracts. I cannot tell you how many agents do not understand the contracts that they're asking consumers to sign. Now think about this, because I get really serious about this, and I don't mind offending one or two people. The largest single investment that most human beings are ever going to make is a home. We're representing them on the single largest investment that they're ever going to do. Don't you think we owe it to them to know what we're doing? Do you think that sitting across the table with a listing agreement and you're asking them to sign it, if they ask you a question, what does this mean? You look at it and you cannot answer that question. You need to read the as-is contract over and over and over again, because it's like, what, 14 pages? You need to read the listing agreement. It's 5 pages. You need to read the addendums. Now, the great news is that LPT has tons of training on all this. We have tons of training. We have a lot of videos. You have to make the time to understand the contracts before you need to use a contract. Does that sound like a fair thing to say? Any questions, concerns on anything about the RDR? Don't be in that group. This is a condition that's curable. This is a treatable condition. All you got to start doing is when we send you an email, please read it. When we send out a text, please read it. When we post something in the chats, please read it. And life for all of us will be much smoother. Fair enough? Good? Okay. Now, what is a day in the life of a realtor? When I'm coming up with the content for this, I've started thinking, what if an agent is thinking, but Tony, I'm new, or Tony, I'm semi-new. What do I do? What do I do in any given day? Well, you know what? That's been asked and answered before. So I'm going to share this with you. This is through Breakthrough Realtor. Look at all of the different activities that you could be doing on any given day. So here's what you do. And yes, I want to acknowledge what Jeanette says. Jeanette is handling orientation now. And I have put the fear of God in her and saying, I want you to go item by item on the compensation side going forward so that those issues don't happen anymore, because we can't control what's happened in the past, but we're blessed that a lot of the folks that just didn't want to be LPT, didn't want to learn, didn't want to try anything new, they're leaving. You know, as important as the right people coming into your life, you know what's as important? The wrong people leaving your life. They're leaving because, you know, LPT is not for everyone. Xtreme is not for everyone, and vice versa. But that aside, look at these activities. Now, when I post this in our chat later today, you need to make a copy or several copies of this, because pick and choose, man. Like CB, he's writing handwritten notes. Okay, that's one item. I'll give you an example. I've made this challenge to people before. If you're brand new, do you even know your inventory? Let me ask you, do you know anybody that sells cars? Have you ever sold cars for a living? What do you think car salespeople do every single day when they walk onto the lot? They see what came in. In the old days, it was like physical. Right now, they got computers and stuff, but you better believe that a really good car salesperson knows what inventory they have. You know that the typical real estate agent doesn't even know the inventory? When you're brand new and you don't have a lot to do, you know what you should be doing is previewing properties. You know what properties you should be previewing? The ones closest to where you live. Because if you're not an expert on the homes where you live, in your subdivision, around your house, you got a real problem on your hands. I loved when Gabi and I were first opening the company. Gabi spent hours on her phone. And I'm saying, are you having an affair? Should I be worried? Just kidding. But I would say, who is this? He goes, no, I'm on the MLS. Gabi would be on searching, and she first started because we were looking for a home ourselves. So if you ask Gabi, where can I find a home that's this size for this price? She can tell, well, you won't find it in this neighborhood. You won't find it here. You won't find it here, and you won't find it there. because she knows her inventory. You know what you guys should do as accountability buddies, almost like Caravan, like we used to do Caravan, is meet at the office after you scheduled 5 or 6 properties to go preview, and you guys go preview them together. You know, you pull them up in the MLS and you follow the instructions for a showing. Most of us are using showing time, right? I'll give you an example. If you're brand new and you don't have your Supra key, what are you waiting on? If you don't have your Supra key, you can't open a lockbox. That's electronic. The first thing you do when you join a board is you take the MLS class, but you also sign up for Supra so that you get your key so you can open. And you know what you want to do? You want to practice opening up an electronic lockbox without the customer standing behind you. Troy knows this. I've seen people say, I don't know, Gabi gets calls all the time from real estate agents that don't know how to operate Supra. They don't know what a code is, because you can actually program a code. So not everybody and their brother that got handed the Supra can open it. And they don't know how to apply the code. I had a gal years ago that called me because there was a lockbox, and it was the kind like the old lockers that you would have in school. And she did not know that you got to turn to the right a bunch of times, stop, turn twice to the left, twice once to the right, and then it opens. I literally had to walk her on the phone through that. Now, in Florida, it rains every 15 seconds. Do you want to be standing in front of the property in the rain and not be able to open the lockbox and expect that buyer to want to work with you? By the way, always have an umbrella with you. Always have a flashlight with you. Because if it can rain, it will rain on your parade. So look at all of the things that you could be doing on any given day that puts you in a position to create more business. Now, the question is, how many of these can you do per day and how consistent you are? But man, I'm telling you, you got to make multiple copies of this, or you got to laminate one, or you got to create a poster. Why not enlarge it and go to Kinko's or something and say, look, I want to enlarge it. I want to laminate it. And you go in there and every day you check off the ones that you're doing. These are the activities that make you money. Any questions on that? Now, guys, I'll be the first one to admit, all right, none of this stuff is new. Now, it may appear earth-shattering to you because you've never heard it, but some of you have heard this before. None of this is new to Troy, but you know what? It doesn't have to be new. It just means that you stopped doing it a while back, because we do that as real estate agents. We find something that works and then we stop doing it because somebody puts a shiny new object in front of us and we go, squirrel, and we start chasing that as opposed to, but this was working. Why did I stop doing this? It was working because we are shiny objects. We're just human beings. I get it. This is why this coaching, I think, is valuable, because it's a wake-up call, right? Now, you and your accountability buddy should each have this. And like, okay, what are we going to do this week? What are we going to do together? And what are you going to do individually? Now, feeding the beast. How often does this happen? Let me know. What does feed the beast mean? Help me out. What do I mean by feed the beast? Who wants to jump in and give me an answer? You remember this from session 1? Do you remember session 1?
Lead generation.
Lead generation. Feed the beast is lead generation. How often do we feed the beast?
Always.
Every damn day. Write that down. Every damn day. Now you can skip the damn part. Daily. This beast will devour you if you don't feed it every day. Now, you got to get those prospects. And when does the magic happen? When you have, you know what? I'm going to actually turn this around. I'm going to change this, Because the very first thing that happens is you get a lead, right? And the lead needs to be screened. So I got to forget that. It's not prospect, it's lead. You screen the lead, you vet the lead, you convert it to an appointment. Most people don't buy a house over the phone. Most people don't list over the phone. Your first thing is the whole purpose of a phone conversation is to get an appointment. Floyd Wickman, the great Floyd Wickman, would say, Cito, come into the office. Floyd, if someone would ask him, well, Floyd, how much do you think how much do you think you could sell my house for? Floyd, what would he call it? The naval salute. I'm going to screw it up. And he would say, I don't know. I haven't seen your house yet. Let's get together. And then he would say, what if they ask you, well, how much commission are you going to charge? Once again, he would say, I don't know. I haven't seen your house yet. Let's get together. And he would have the audience repeat this. What's the moral of the story? You don't list over the phone. You don't sell over the phone. You secure an appointment. Now, we have the ability to do those appointments via Zoom, but most often than not, it's live and in person. Now, production is when you're getting contracts. You know that a listing is a contract. You know what else is a contract? A buyer-broker agreement. A buyer-broker agreement is a contract. So if you're meeting someone for a buyer consultation, what should the end result be? You guys have agreed to work together and you put it in writing. If you have an appointment for a listing presentation, what do you want the outcome to be? An actual listing. And then, of course, if we do what we're supposed to and we leverage and we partner with the right people, we're going to get closings out of this. Any questions on this order or what I just shared? I would like to try to get some feedback. Again, I know it's a lot, but I need to know to what degree this is sinking in, if at all. So any questions, comments would be appreciated.
Tony, it all makes sense. It does. It's just you just have to follow up and be consistent with it, seems like, in order for it to work.
It absolutely. Do you have an accountability buddy now, CB?
Well, I talked to Shala,
Yeah.
and she said she would be my accountability buddy.
There you
So
go.
she knows her business. So I
Oh,
figure whenever I do come across a sale that I will contact her.
okay, so that sounds more like a mentorship scenario than an accountability buddy.
Yeah, accountability. Well, I was going to use her as accountability buddy too, but I know she's real busy. So in
Yeah.
actuality, I really don't have one. She's more
Yeah,
like
I would not recommend approaching one of the mentors for the accountability part because they're in production and everything else. If they say yes, God bless them. But I would be more likely to try to find someone from either within this coaching group or just from the Xtreme, because Lord knows you got plenty to choose from there, and try to find one from there. And then, of course, sooner than later, engage her services, have an agreement with her in place for the mentorship part of it.
Okay, I'll talk to you about it.
Cool. All right, so let's talk about some ways that we can feed the beast. All right, we all know now it has to be done daily. It has to be consistent. Let me see if you guys were paying attention from session 1. When you are working certain tasks in the business, what does working in the business mean? Give me an example of working in the business. Let's say you spent the entire day working in the business. What would be an example of working in the business?
I guess follow up on leads, contacting people, sending out. It seems like AI is really taking over. It seems like you have to incorporate AI in real estate more so than ever before. I find a lot of people are doing that, and I think that's something that would be beneficial for us.
Yeah, well, I got a treat. Next week, when we do session 3, Art Fernandez, one of our mentors, who is really well-versed on AI, is going to do a segment on working with AI. He uses it religiously. And next week, we also have Troy doing his YouTube as well. So we're really going to start getting down and dirty. But when you look in the chat, Deanne hit it right on the head, admin stuff. What you were describing is on the business, working in the business. Now, you weren't in session 1, I believe, so maybe you were a little bit at a disadvantage there. So working in the business is doing your paperwork, you know, looking in the MLS, you know, anything that's admin related, anything that's non-income, non-lead generating related is working in the business. The money is made working on the business. Working on the business is prospecting. Working on it is marketing. Okay. You could decide that training could be combination on and in because we need it, right? The training prepares you for actual lead generation. I get it, but what if you're spending 40 hours a week in training and you're not spending anything using the training on? So that could be your demise as well. So I might be tempted to actually put in training as being in the business versus on the business. So if you're not doing something that creates, and here's the thing, when you're scheduling your time, highlight your lead generation time in green. Highlight it in green. Why? Money. You know, you should have a lot more green highlighted on your day than yellow or red. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever get caught in that trap. Remember what I always say, that if you spend too much time working in the business and not enough time working on the business, you may find yourself what? Out of business. All right, so lead generation, let's talk about this. What can I do that can help you kind of get off the ground quickly? Well, you can't get too far ahead of yourselves, right? You got to have a CRM, customer or client relationship manager. I talked about this in session 1. And why am I talking about it again? Because agents are notorious for leads falling through the cracks. Most people that respond to an internet lead are not ready to buy right now. Less than 5%, maybe even less than 2.5% are ready to buy right now. They're kicking tires. They're in the process of gathering information. You have to put them in some kind of a nurturing system. So they constantly are hearing from you. They're getting properties sent to them that match what they're looking at. They're getting notes, they're getting videos, they're getting all these things. And what are you going to use? You're going to use some kind of scrap of paper or notebook like we did back in the day? No, you need to use a CRM. There's tons available out there, tons. But we have an excellent one available through LPT called Lofty. Now, I talked about last week that Lofty is free with the exception of the one-time activation fee. The one-time activation fee, which is $99. Now, if you were with us, if you were part of Xtreme International Realty, at the time that we made the transition over to LPT, the agents that were with us then were given the right to activate Lofty with no activation fee. Sadly, a lot did not do it. Now, let's say they wake up and say, man, let me see if that's still available. Maybe that offer is still there because in the system they're noted, or maybe it expired. I don't know. Hopefully it's still there. Everyone else that came after that, one-time $99 fee, and then guess what? Nothing per month. LPT also makes 2 or 3 other ones available that are not free, but we got big discounts. Some people prefer KV Core. Some people prefer Follow-Up Boss. Now, this past week, they announced another one. You have your choice of different ones, but those are not free. Those have a monthly fee associated with them. I see no reason why you guys can't use Lofty. Now, to get Lofty, you have to log in. You have to go to LPT Connect. This should not be a screen that you have never seen before. and you notice that it's going to be somewhere around here, Lofty. You click on there to access your CRM and all of the goodies. You know what else comes with it? Your website, your public-facing website. You know what else comes with that website? Your mobile search app. So you guys all have an app that you can share with folks that lets them look at properties without seeing other agents. That's called IDX. Your website will have IDX as well. Many agents that were paying $40, $50, $100 a month, Troy is one of them. Troy has a website right now that he'll be canceling no sooner than when he's on the system, because ours will do everything his does, and he will not be paying monthly for it. So my question is, tell me right now, don't BS me. Write your name in the chat if you've activated Lofty. I need to know. This is too important for me to, well, you know what? Don't answer me. I want to know who has activated Lofty. Anthony, good. Carol, Ashley, Monique, okay. All right, so we hit one. 1, 2, okay. Me, okay. I have, good. Now, I'm not going to ask you if you're using it. That's another story. So here's what happens. When you really, really use it, you have the ability to integrate your Lofty with different programs that are out there. Let's say, for example, you're paying for leads, internet leads. You will be able to integrate it so that your leads go right into your Lofty. Now, here's what you have to do. Please tell me that you'll do this, right? You signed up for Lofty, so you get a website. Have you even seen your website? Do you know what your website address is? Because it's going to be your name dot, I think, LPT home search or something like that. Now, completely off the subject, but something that I used to teach on. I used to be known as the internet czar. I would teach agents about technology when the internet was new. Every single one of you needs to have a vanity domain name. You need to have a domain name that is about you, not LPT, nothing else. It's yourname.com if it's available. Yournamerealtor.com if it's available. Selling homes in blank.com if it's available. Every single one of you needs a website address like that. Go to GoDaddy or one of these other ones that you have. I've started using Ionis one-on-one. I started using them because GoDaddy used to give you an email alias for free, and now they don't. Now they charge you. It pisses me off. And so let me go completely advanced on you here. In the perfect world, on your business cards, you will have yourname.com is your website address. You don't send them to Xtreme site because there's other agents on Xtreme site. You send them to your site. So here's what you do. You go buy a domain name, and I'll share the link a little bit later to that registrar that I use. You go buy a domain name, and you make sure you never lose it, okay? And you have it there, and it's blank.com. Now, you can configure it to forward to the address you have with your Lofty site. So you're not giving someone some big old long address. You're giving them a short address, and the name forwards to that one. I might even do a little small training on that if you guys think you have that, need that. Now, you have that domain name, right? Now you create an email address at that domain name. So for example, mine is Tony Martinez Events. My email address is Tony@Tony Martinez Events. Doesn't get any easier than that. Guess what? Tony@Tony Martinez Events forwards to the email address I use in my Outlook. Now, why do I do that? Because if I use a Gmail address, I'm stuck with that Gmail address for the rest of my life because it's going to be on all of my marketing. Now, God forbid you guys have used the email address of the broker you work for and you leave that broker. Are you going to continue to get those emails? No. They die or the broker has them forwarded to them. So I'm schooling you on some real world stuff here. Everybody needs a domain name. Costs you $15, something like that. And then through that domain name, you create your email alias. It could be homes at this at that. And then you could do some more advanced stuff after that, but that's enough for now. You guys understand that part of it? Any questions on that part of it?
Can you repeat it, Tony? Excuse me, it's me, Elvira. How are you?
Well,
Can you
Elvira,
repeat it a little bit about the domain? How can I create it? My email, not through Gmail, please.
Yeah, so I think what I'll probably need to do a short video on how to do this using Ionis, because I'm speaking a different language right now. You know,
Yeah, I understand.
it gets really confusing. So here's where you guys could all start, and you can start this tonight, okay? You go get the domain name first. Go get the domain name. I'm gonna give you the address to go get the domain name. Now, the domain name is a hit and miss thing. Now, the ideal domain name is your name. Now, what are the chances that your name has never been taken by anybody else? Do you know that I used to work for a company? They had registered. I used to work for a company called Internet Crusade that used to do the first ePro program, the ePro, and I was an ePro trainer. And they had registered hundreds and thousands of domain names back when it was like nothing to register them. Guess what name they owned? TonyMartinez.com. They owned TonyMartinez.com. And for the longest time, while I was working with them and then not working with them, they would not sell it to me. They would not release it. And I remember to this day, I get a call out of the blue from the gentleman. And he says, I got a present for you. What's that? He goes, I'm going to give you your name. And then TonyMartinez.com became available. Do you think I'm ever not going to pay that? That's mine so long as I keep renewing it. I hand that to my boy after I'm done. So yeah, get a piece of paper and start writing what in the perfect world would be a good domain name. Well, your name. Now, let's say your name is taken. If you're a realtor, you're allowed to add the word realtor to your domain, to your name. So you could be TonyMartinezRealtor.com. Guess what you can't be? TonyTheRealtor.com. Realtor is a trademark term. In the old days, agents went nuts. I remember one of my customers, because I used to sell websites. Yeah, I used to sell websites for a living. They registered a domain name, Best Realtors in Town. You got to love that name. You know what NAR did? They sent them a cease and desist letter. You cannot use the word realtor in your domain name unless it's your name, or if you're the broker, your company name. So you cannot use Coral Springs Realtor. No. Best Realtor, tallest Realtor, skinniest Realtor. You can't use it in conjunction with an adjective, only your name. So many times when an agent has tried to get their name and the name has been taken, they add realtor to it and it becomes available and they grab it. And then after that, it's just knowing how to activate the alias. And what I'll do, I'll log in on my account and I'll do a Loom video and I'll walk through, okay, here's what you click on. Here's how you create the alias. Here's how you set it up and you guys will be able to do it. Fair enough?
Thank you, Tony. Yes, excellent.
Okay, my pleasure. All right, anybody else have a question? All right. Prospecting for listings. So here's the broad picture, okay? The broad picture. And then hopefully in subsequent sessions, we'll narrow it down. Listings do not grow on trees. People think they do not. Okay. The listing you want is at the very, very top, right? And then you are a brand new agent and you show up to your first listing appointment and you don't even have a ladder with you. And then the second agent that shows up because they're being interviewed, they have a really long ladder because they've been there before. And then the top producer shows up and they have a cherry picker and they ask you to get out of the way so they can back up and go, This is the challenge that we have. We all want listings, but they don't grow on trees. And if they did, they would be out of reach for most people. So here's what I'm advocating, and then I'll get to your questions. I want you to study what I'm about to say because it may be counterintuitive to what you have been taught before. But our job is not to motivate homeowners to sell or buyers to buy. Let's just keep it to sellers right now. Your job is not to motivate a homeowner to sell. Your job is to identify motivated sellers and motivated buyers. If you're knocking on every door right now because you're farming and you're saying, hey, I just want to see if you're thinking about selling. Why the hell would I want to sell, dude? Do you know what interest rate I have now? I have a 2.5% interest rate. So you want me to sell my house so I can go get a 6.5% interest rate right now? Is that what you want me to do? No. Our job, ideally, is to identify people that maybe don't have a choice but to sell. Think about that. What if they don't have a choice but to sell? Any questions? And then I want to get into some heavy duty stuff, but I want to get the questions out of. I need my time. Hold on a second. Okay, no questions on that? Jamal, you had a question?
Yes. Sorry, I was trying to catch you on a previous one. I created a online page. I don't know if you could see it, but it's on the Miami Realtors.
Yeah, the Miami Realtors offers a web page of sorts. Yeah.
I was just asking if this is okay because I got my name, Realtor, LPT Realty, with the phone number and my email.
Well, what happens is there's domain names, there's subdomain names. Like, for example, if you're, where did that name come from? Like, what is the domain? What it's tell me, read it off to me again. What is your domain name?
Jamel Taylor, Realtor, and then I have the LPT Realty, my phone number and email address.
That's not a domain name. That's like a whole moss podge of different things. A domain name is something.com.
So that would be in the MLS.
But I'm gonna watch. I gotta keep track of it. Thank you, sir. Yeah, okay. We're gonna probably, so what happens is the MLS, they may offer a web page for free.
Agent 3000.
A web page will have a URL. A URL is the address, and it might be a super long URL. And
Okay.
yes, you can buy a domain name to point to that. You know, but I think what I may do is a bonus session apart from this on nothing but internet marketing like this, because I'm starting to think a lot of agents are not really using domain names properly. They're promoting everybody but themselves. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get to that. Here's where I'm going with this. All right, and I want you to think about this for the next week. Are you a general practitioner or are you a specialist? I already know the answer. Most of you are general practitioners, and we have way too many of them in the industry. We probably started the year with 1.3, 1.4 million realtors. Does the United States need 1.3 or 1.4 million realtors? Be honest. Do we need that many realtors? No. Do you know that we're probably going to do less than 4 million units sold this year. Now take 4 million units sold and try to divide it by 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 million realtors. Not a lot to go around. So here's where I'm advocating. And this is why I created the riches and niches and what I've been pitching. And I'm hoping that some of you will wake up and say that specialization is the key to success. Don't try to be all things to all people. Find a niche or two or three. Example, pre-foreclosures, dominating the pre-foreclosure market. A foreclosure is someone losing their home. You got the #1 guy in the country as your team leader. You know what I'm doing to help you all? I have scheduled a stop foreclosure webinar for September 15th. Okay, September 15th. All of you are going to have access to this flyer so that you can personalize it, so that you can promote it on social media, so that you can take the registrations and then you invite them on the webinar where I do what God gave me the gift to do best. Now, this is a niche. You know, some of you are CDPEs. I want all of you to be CDPEs, but some of you are CDPEs in name only. You took my class, you ain't done nothing with it. You took my class and you don't remember anything from it. None of us benefit from that. So I'm going to challenge you to take on this niche. And it just so happens your team leader owns the #1 training program when it comes to this. So we got a live class coming. You can do it online anytime. We have the online on demand. You know, you can get started today. But we also have a live in-person one coming up in Davie, our office, on September 10th. And I did that intentionally because my boy is going to be in town during that time. Okay. So here's the price. The price is normally $499 for everybody else. And then I work the deal out with LPT, and LPT endorses it, and they get it for $340. They get it for $345. And then you, as Xtreme agents, get it for $199. This is what you get. Now, I made the news the other day that I just got it approved for 8 hours of CE credits. So that's an extra bonus. So if you're interested in finding out more about this, you're going to reach out to Jeanette, because you need to enter an actual coupon code to get that price. In the past, most people have used the coupon code to get the online one, but now you have the benefit of doing it live and in person. Now, let's say that you're not available because you work a full-time gig. Tony, I love to be there, but whatever. You still sign up for the online one, okay? You get the online one. And then the next time that I do a Zoom one, when I do a Zoom one, I break it up over 2 days, and I will be doing the next one in October. You'll be able to jump in on that one at no additional charge. So that'll be my gift to you. Do the online one because you get access right away. So let's say you didn't want to wait until September 10th. Tony, that's great, but I want to start working it now. Okay, sign up. We'll give you access to the online one, and then you can still attend the live in-person one at no additional charge. Does it get any better than that? Okay, so this is for those of you that want to help people avoid foreclosure. It is the low-hanging fruit. Earlier, I shared the latest foreclosure stats. Foreclosures have jumped significantly. It is the low-hanging fruit that most agents ignore. And what I want to do, I want to use this event as a way of kicking off your lead generation. If you are advertising on Facebook and social media, hey, are you losing your home? Foreclosure is not the only option, and you can get them on this webinar, we stand a chance of converting them into a listing for you. I'll do all the work on that webinar, and then you will follow up with them afterward. Does that make sense? You guys have a question on that?
Yeah, Tony, the flyer that you just showed for September 15th, you're going to send a link to where we can.
Yeah, thank you. What we'll do is we'll actually share the graphic so that you
Link
can,
is there.
here's what I'm going to do. Hannah works at the office tomorrow. If you guys don't know anything about how to do graphics, I'm going to give you a bonus for being on here, but the bonus, you would have to do it by tomorrow because I will not extend it beyond tomorrow. you're going to send to Jeanette or whatever. Jeanette can get it to Hannah. Get her your photo, your phone number. What else do we have in here? Your name and all that stuff. And Hannah will personalize it for you. And then she'll hand it right back. Because I don't want you to spend hours trying to figure out how to do Canva and you don't get anywhere with it. So all you need to do is, because I have one that I use that's personalized with my photo. Those are the ones that I use as the team leader to promote. I don't want you to use that one because that's going to direct them to me. I want them to only know about you. So you're not giving up the webinar information. You're taking the registration. You're saying, reach out to me if you want to attend. And by the way, if you can't attend or need immediate assistance, you're going to put your phone number here. Then what'll happen is you'll say, okay, you're registered, folks. I'll see you on the 15th, whatever. A couple of days beforehand, I'll share with you guys the actual webinar link. And that's when you share it with them. You feel me?
Mhm.
You want to be collecting the leads. Because when I'm on the webinar, I want to say, you're here because somebody invited you. And if you want more information after the webinar, reach out to the person that invited you. But you're going to register them. See, you collect their information and you register them on the link that I give you. So internally, we're going to know that they're yours. You feel me?
Yes.
That's me trying to protect you guys. Next, the next niche, working with the military. Less than 14% of veterans or active military actually use the VA loan program to buy a home. I can't tell you how many people are denied the American dream because of all of the myths and misconceptions about what a VA loan is and is not. Well, Gabi gave me permission to buy this course, this certification. I used to teach it 10 years ago. And I've been friends with the guy ever since. And finally, we arrived at a deal and I bought it from him. So we are going to do it both live in person. I'm doing an in-person one on Tuesday, September 23rd at the office. You see the LPT price on the left and Xtreme price on the right, because this is normally a $325 class. I'm making it available to everybody at $225, but you guys get an additional $100 off. Now, let's say you can't make it that day. I have the Zoom version coming up. And I even made the Zoom version less expensive for you guys. I try to charge more for live and in person because it's a different experience, it's a better experience. But I said, let me make this as affordable as possible because I would love nothing better than to have a large percentage of Xtreme by LPT agents be certified as a MilRes specialist, military residential specialist. So I don't have those sessions recorded yet. I do not have an online version. It's going to be live and in person and Zoom. So you guys will be able to sign up with whichever one you want. So I'm giving you two different niches that you can focus on, all right? And then there's a third. The third is probate. Now, I currently do not teach probate, but the gentleman that sold me the military residential specialist has the #1 probate class in the country. And it's called the Certified Probate Specialist, a CPS. Miami Association, I think, will host it from time to time. I will bet you dollars to donuts that within the next month or two, I'll be teaching it as well, but I don't currently teach it. But folks, you know that none of us get out of this life alive. And there's about 3 million probate cases that are open every year. The vast majority of Americans do not have a trust. Most don't even have a will, but a will does not prevent probate. A trust does. Only about 18% of Americans have a trust. If you can become a probate specialist, it's lights out for the amount of listings that you can take. I hope that this is resonating. I hope you guys feel this at your core. Stop trying to be all things to all people. And let me tell you something, and I kid you not, when you have initials after your name, it increases your credibility. It increases your credibility. I even asked ChatGPT the other day, thank you, Raymond. I asked it, what's the best short sale class for realtors out there? And it comes back to CDPE. And I mean, you can see like the excitement, right? Because you know what? NAR has their own called SFR. I don't even want to go there. It's a shadow of what my class is. And you know who tells me this every day? People that have taken both. So that's what's up for grabs. Now, I think it's, well, I don't know if I have the money. Guys, I can't give stuff away. Oh, I am in this training series, but not my designations and stuff. But I've always done my best to take care of my team members. So you're getting exceptional pricing. So let's start getting the initials after the name so that we can really get going. Now, here's what we want to do. I can't get you started on this right now because you may not be ready. Now, maybe a Moody is ready. Maybe a Troy absolutely is ready. But expired listing, some of you are so brand new, you don't even know what that is. Okay. So when someone signs a listing agreement, it has to have a definitive start and ending date. All right. The goal is to get it sold within that time. While a listing is under contract, meaning listed, for ethics, principles, and everything else, we as realtors are absolutely positively not allowed to solicit anybody whose property is listed with another real estate agent, another realtor. Now, the minute it expires, it's game over. So here's what happens. In the MLS, it never says the expired date because agents would use that against you. You don't know when a listing expires, unless it's your listing, of course. But guess what? Every day, the expires are posted. So when you log on, there's going to be dozens, if not hundreds of listings that expired that day. And the end of the month is when most listings expire. The number one day to call on expireds is the first day of the month. Now, this is a whole other world. The scripts are something else. Guys, we would have to have entire hours-long training to do on this. So here's what I can offer you right now. If you're really interested in pursuing this, we're going to post a link later to gloveru.com. In fact, you can go to it now. You can post it as GLO, and I think it's VER, the letter U.com. He is the number one trainer in the business right now. People think it's Tom Ferry and all that. It's not. It's Jeff Glover. He has his own team. He personally, and his own team, personally, not his team, will take 100 listings a year, not including his team. He's an amazing trainer. In fact, I got his permission to use parts of his script as part of my listing presentation, ultimate listing presentation. He gives away more stuff on his website than agents actually can buy. So you need to go to Glover U and you need to start downloading some scripts because he's got FSBO scripts, expired scripts, and everything else. Next, evolve to the point that you're comfortable calling FSBOs. What are FSBOs? For sale by owners. You have agents that are knocking on doors on people that have no intention of ever selling. And there's someone with a neon sign on their front lawn saying, I'm selling, I'm selling, I'm selling. Let me tell you something. In 2020, 2021, they did not need us. I'm sorry, they really didn't need us. There were no listings, buyers were desperate, and sellers realized that they could put the listing and sell it themselves. The market has shifted. This is a golden time for us to approach FSBOs because they're struggling. The buyer pool is down, the inventory is up, but you have to know how to approach them. You know that in my ultimate listing presentation class, I share some stats, but I think the number of FSBOs is down to only like 6 or 7% actually sell the homes themselves. That means in spite of all the technology and everything that's going on, the overwhelming percentage of consumers still trust a real estate professional to sell their home. And the reason is simple, they net more. We still net them more. So another area of huge opportunity for you are for sale by owners. This is not for the meek, the weak, the thin-skinned, because they're nasty. But if you can just let it roll off your back like water on a duck, then there's money to be made because they have to sell. So think about it. Someone that expired may not have to sell again. Some of them have no choice but to sell, but they hired the wrong agent. Somebody that lists a home for sale by owner thinks that they're doing a service for themselves or actually doing a disservice. And when you know what to say, how to say it, and when to say it, you'll convince folks that that's exactly what they're up against. But this is a higher level. This is a much higher level that we can't get to in these 4 weeks. But I'm wetting your beak on this because to the right agent, if I'm talking to the right agent, you're going to want to find out more about working expires and find out more about working FSBOs. Where do you get these people? Well, the expires are in the MLS. For sale by owners, well, they're not in the MLS. They may be on Zillow or you see them advertising. And then you know what the number one question I get when it comes to pre-foreclosures? I always get this question. I get the question, Tony, where do I find them? And I say, well, it's public record. I mean, a foreclosure is public record. But I love RedX. I'm a customer. I'm also an affiliate. In fact, Jeanette, do me a favor. Please remind me tomorrow to reach out to Jonathan. I want to schedule another lead generation class on using RedX. It is a subscription service. It's very affordable, but you can sign up for FSBOs, expires, for rent by owners, and pre-foreclosures. It all depends on what you're after. But here's what they do. They pull the data either from the MLS or different sources. They scrub the data against the do not call list. You cannot make soliciting calls without knowing that whether they're on a do not call list or not. A violation is $11,000. You cannot text people. That'll be a violation. There are attorneys out there that all they do is set people up for failure. So be careful. You see a phone number, let me call them. No. Are they on the do not call list or not? And you can subscribe to services that let you look it up. Who's got time for that crap? No. I want to look it up on RedX. So this is next level stuff. Now, agents will say, well, can I share a subscription with somebody? Well, maybe, as long as you have a very clear-cut way of using it. Let's say, for example, there's somebody within Xtreme that says, you know what? I want to work on expires. And you say, you know what? I want to work pre-foreclosures. Well, why don't we share a RedX so that we're sharing the cost, and then you're pulling one list and I'm pulling another. That can potentially work. But just keep in mind, you guys are not partners. One person may decide one day, I don't want to pay anymore. And now you're kind of stuck. So I only addressed it because it's always asked of me. And my answer is always, do it yourself. Find the money. Remember that extra subscription you have to Hulu or some other service right now that you really don't need? You know those $5 and $10 coffees that you're getting every day? You know these lunches that you're taking and all these other expenses that you're doing? Well, maybe it's time to look at your expenses. And let me tell you what I learned a long time ago. It's called cost neutral. Gabi manages our money, thank God. And my entire family laughs at me. Jeanette will attest to this. My son says, Papi, you don't even know what you have, and you have to get permission to spend it. And I go, Yeah, you're right. But I learned a trick. I learned that if I'm already spending $200 a month on something, and I want to spend $200 a month on something else, I go back and say, is this $200 a month already working? Really working? And if it's not, I cancel it and I move the money over to this new one. If Gabi even notices, and she's behind me laughing right now, if she even notices and come to me and says, where'd you get this $200? I go, well, I'm not spending any additional money. I just moved the money over from this to here, so you can't give me any crap about that. She does anyway, but I move on. So Red X. Now we have special pricing because of the CDPE. You just got to tell them, hey, I work with Tony Martinez. Jonathan will take care of you. Okay. Yes, and coffee's for closers. How many of you know what that term, where that term came from? Coffee is for closers. Oh my God. Tell me, Tone. Tell me. The movie. There is a movie that some of you weren't even alive when it came out. You need to see this movie because it will scare the hell out of you. It's called Glengarry, Glen Ross. Glengarry, Glen Ross. I watched it in the 90s. I almost cried. It had, these guys were selling land. They're the lowest form of scum when it comes to selling real estate in the world. It had one of the best casts you will ever see assembled ever. Jack Lemmon, Ed Harris, my God, Alec Baldwin, Al Pacino. I mean, amazing. And there is a scene that you can YouTube. You can just YouTube it. It is not for the thin-skinned. It is offensive. It's homophobic. It's everything you can imagine. But it is the one clip that is played 10,000 times over and over at every call center, every sweatshop you ever seen. And it's Alec Baldwin going off on this crew. And what I want you to do is an assignment. I want you to take 10 minutes to watch those scenes. And then you post in our chat if that is not one of the most powerful scenes you have ever seen as it relates to being a salesperson, having to sell to eat. And I trust you, you'll never, ever, ever feel sorry for yourself in selling real estate after you watch that scene.
What's the name of the movie again?
Glengarry, Glen Ross.
No, you said coffee.
No, that's a line in the movie.
Oh, okay.
The line in the movie is coffee, and I'm not going to give it away.
Okay, the movie is what?
Glengarry, Glen Ross. Maybe somebody can find it and post it in the chat there.
Okay.
Just go on YouTube and somebody find the link for Coffee is for Closers. Thank you, Tone. You're the man. Thank you. Please do not watch it now. Just wait. We're almost done. Okay. Open houses. Now, can you get listings from open houses? Absolutely. In fact, what I don't see happening often enough is an agent that takes a listing and goes out and does an open house. And then because they're doing an open house, they ended up getting neighbors to come in and take more listings. So you're thinking, Tony, you're really confusing me here because I'm getting started. I don't even have a listing. Well, I want to share something important with you. I need you to make the commitment to approach teammates within Xtreme that have listings that may not be willing or able to hold it open. Bettina shared, I think today, said, who wants to work this open house with me? And somebody jumped at the opportunity immediately because you should never work an open house by yourself. It's not safe. It's not smart. But one of the fastest ways for you guys to learn the language of real estate is to be a fly on the wall, to visit when one of our experienced agents is holding an open house. You don't say a word, you don't do anything. Now, the next level is you approach someone and say, guys, does anybody have an open house that I can work this weekend with you or myself? Because open houses are back. Buyers go to open houses. And you know that seldom, if ever, you sell that house. That's not the point. The point is you make contact with them and you find out, so what is it you're looking for? Do you have an exclusive relationship with somebody else? And then all of a sudden you now have a buyer that you're working with. You even can work open houses for agents that are not with LPT. Yes, you can hold an open house open for other agents. Agents that are in Miami and took a Broward listing, those are perfect to approach because they don't want to drive up. Open houses are a great way. You know, everybody thinks open houses are on Saturdays and Sundays. You know that you can host an open house? It's called a twilight open house. You can host it during the week from 5 to 7, from 6 to 8, because it's still light out. And people are driving the areas that they want to live, and you could actually be sitting there doing your work and stumble across a buyer or a seller. Do you know how many agents at our company right now have listings, have an open house, and have not knocked on the doors of the neighbors to see if they want to come visit the open house or to see if they know somebody that wants to move into the neighborhood? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. There are agents within our team that will take a listing and not even get their free listing power pack, if you can imagine that. Why wouldn't you do it? We came across some wannabe company that's trying to copy us. I won't mention their name. And they have a kit that they put out too, but they charge their agents like $160 for the kits. We get them for free. Yet the agents that do get the kits don't empty the box and don't pass out everything that's in that box. There's the opportunity, folks. Oh my God, opportunities are staring you in the face left and right.
Hey, Tony, I have a question for you. Let's say if you go to scenario, let's say you go to an open house of an agent, LPT agent, and the agent is at the open house, but you decide to go in the neighborhood and knock on doors to invite people to that open house. And one of those people that you invited to the open house decides that they might be interested in selling.
No. That's a no. You don't do that.
Okay.
You never invite someone to an open house that's not your open house or that you're working. You know what I'm saying? Because you have no claim to those people. That person walks in the door and expresses interest, is going to belong to that agent. You never go to somebody else's open house and start prospecting or canvassing people that are walking in and out. I got to tell you something. As an owner, I will tell you something. I had this guy, and there are not a whole lot of people that I dislike, but I truly dislike this guy. And not initially, I do now. He worked an open house for another agent. This guy was an experienced agent, many years in the business, had the audacity to call me and say, what's in it for me? Somebody wants to make an offer on the house that I'm holding the open house with right now, but they have an agent. What's in it for me? And I said, not a damn thing. He go, what do you mean? I go, is it your listing? No. Is that buyer wanting you to represent them? No, they have an agent. You don't get anything at all. Nothing. So why am I here? What about if somebody walked in unaccompanied by an agent and wants to make an offer on that house? You can represent that buyer. What if somebody comes in unaccompanied, the house is not right for them, but would like you to represent them in finding them the right house? I literally had to explain it that basic to an agent with many years in the business. When you work an open house, it's because you're looking to get leads. And if you strike gold, it's because somebody walks in unaccompanied, doesn't have an agent, and says, this is the perfect house, I want to make an offer on it. Now you can represent them on the buyer side. You guys feel me?
Okay. So, if an agent, LPT agent is doing an open house and, you might invite somebody to the open house and you guys have struck up an agreement, could you strike up an agreement with the agent doing the open house? If you bring somebody to our open house that you could split the commission, or is that something that you can negotiate with another agent?
No, I think here's how you do it. And I understand that it can be confusing. Let's say, for example, I'm working with a buyer. I have a buyer broker agreement. They want to look at a couple of homes. One of the homes happens to be held open that day. And I can go ahead and say, yeah, you can go to that open house. But the minute you walk in the door, you hand a business card, my business card, to that agent. And you say, listen, I'm here to see the house, but I am represented.
Got it.
So that person doesn't get the impression that they're a potential lead. Okay.
Okay.
So no, you don't want the other agent is not supposed to do the work for you. You know, if you send somebody to an open house and you don't coach them properly, and they just show up and they fall in love with it, and they don't have a buyer broker agreement or anything like that, that person could dump you and go with that agent immediately. It's not recommended for you to ever send them. I ain't never sending my wife to anywhere where there are a bunch of good-looking dudes hanging out. I don't care how faithful she is. I'm not sending them to a place where there are a lot of good-looking dudes. One good-looking dude. No.
I guess the reason why I brought this up is because you probably heard of him, Tim Elms.
I think so.
Yeah, he's like a top producer. What he would do, which he told me when he had sold my house, that he would be at an open house, but he wouldn't go in, and he would be sitting out in the car. And when these people would walk out after looking at the house, if they didn't have somebody that's representing them, then he would try to get them and be their agent to find the house
Wow.
they might be interested in. And I thought that
Wow.
was so underhanded.
Yeah, that's a scumbag.
Okay. Well,
That's
they all call him that too.
yeah, he's a scumbag. It's
Okay.
kind of like you hanging out outside of a new home construction showroom office
Hmm.
and standing there saying, oh, before you walk in, I can be your agent, no, listen, yeah, unfortunately, those people exist.
Okay.
Now, that person could walk out and they not be represented, and the agent inside still not had done their job properly. But that's sacred ground. That's holy ground. I think that's just beyond unethical to do, So it is perfectly okay for you to be at an open house waiting for one of your buyers that you have an appointment with to show them that house, because you're walking in with them. Many times when Gabi has a listing and people want to show it, she just says, well, listen, it's being held open on Saturday from 12 to 3 anyway. Just come by between 12 and 3. Because the people are coming by with their agent. That's a different scenario.
So the only reason why you should go to the open house I'm trying to pick up is to either listen and learn from the agent that has the listing, or to bring a buyer.
Or to work it. Now, keep in mind, you never go to an agent outside of the team and hang out at their open house.
I mean, the LPT agent.
Yeah, no, that's like, what are you doing here, man? I go, I just thought I'd hang out and learn from you.
Oh,
No.
it has to be with the team. Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
And even then, the team member is under no obligation to accommodate you. It's just that I know our Xtreme people are special, because you're there to show support. You're there to learn about the house, but you never, ever, ever crowd someone or infringe upon their turf.
Do you
I had
let them
one
know
gal
you're
once,
coming? If you're on the team, do you let them know that you're coming, or you just show up
I
as
would.
part of Tony's team?
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's Xtreme by LPT, they usually will go ahead and post in our chat, hey, I'm holding an open house. You can just write to them directly and says, hey, I'm going to stop by and say hi.
Got it.
Okay. Moving on. Okay. I know you guys are using this. If you're not using this, you will be using this. But if you're going to start making prospecting calls and everything, please track your numbers. Here's why. At the end of these 4 sessions, okay, so what's going to happen? No, I take that back. So next week, we're going to meet twice. And then by next week, I'm going to have a date, 30 to 45 days in the future, that we're going to convene again. And then we're going to find out what's been happening. On that day, I'm going to ask all of you to give me your stats. I want to know how many appointments, how many buyer broker agreements you had signed, how many listing appointments, how many listing contracts, how many buyer consultations, how many offers. I want to know if it worked. I want to know if in the time that you took this training until the 30, 45 days of applying it, can we go back to the rest of the team and say, look at these numbers. Look at these numbers, what our teammates were able to accomplish in 30 to 45 days after taking it. So I need you guys to track everything, document everything. So when the time comes, you guys are able to give me those stats like right there. It says, okay, this number of showings, this number of this and that. Now, let's do this. I think we have, well, we're kind of, I don't mind going, let's go. Let me see what else I got here. Let me see here. Let's do this. We got time. Let's go 10 minutes over. And then I want to do this at every session we still have left. Is there a particular objection that someone has ever brought up to you that you felt like, man, I did not handle that well? You know, I had an opportunity and they broadsided me with this objection. And Tony, honestly, I didn't know what to say. Maybe it was about commission. Maybe it was about signing the BBA or something like that. Is there anyone that just has one that can just pop up? If not, you guys can kind of put these together for next week so that we can do a longer session on this. But does anybody have one particular one or two that jumps up right now and says, I get this and I never quite knew what to say?
Tony, I think eventually I'm going to get where somebody might say, yeah, I'm interested in buying a house with crypto.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a great one. Now, it is happening. There are processes involved. The first thing you have to do is dig a little deeper to find out, well, exactly what cryptocurrency are we talking about? It better be Bitcoin or one of the stable coins, right? The next thing, it all has to do with, are they cashing out their Bitcoin to get the money to buy? Or are they going to be borrowing against their Bitcoin in order to buy?
Yeah, most people never sell their Bitcoin. They borrow against the Bitcoin.
They borrow against it.
They always hold it forever.
Yeah, but when they borrow against it, it has parameters. It's almost like a hard money loan. They know that it can fluctuate, so they don't loan you total amount. But let's do this. One of the biggest players in that is the title company. The title company is very integral into doing it because the procedure is very different, okay? And these are happening, but they're not happening anywhere near as common or quickly as they thought it would, okay? What I'll do is I'll talk to New World's president and say, where are we? In fact, I'll do a little bit more digging into, is it really, really happening? And what are some of the stumbling blocks that are happening? But yeah, I think that that's something that we can do an entire training session on. So when someone asks you the question, don't jump and say, listen, I go, so are you talking about paying it in full with your crypto? Or are you using your crypto as maybe down payment? Are you cashing it out? Or are you borrowing against it? So you can ask those questions in the meantime so that you can sound like you're like kind of familiar with it. But let me tell you something, with Bitcoin being over 100 grand, it's a game changer now. It doesn't take a lot of Bitcoin for someone to have the money to buy a house cash.
Yeah, the reason why I brought it up is because I went to a seminar by in Miami, and they had a real estate agent who was a crypto expert. He said he was the only one in the state of Florida that was able to do a crypto deal when it came to selling or buying real estate.
I don't
So
believe that. I don't believe that. No one
I don't
has,
believe it either.
yeah, no one has that exclusive. It really comes down to, now he may know the process better than most or anyone,
Yeah.
but it really comes down to the title company. The title company, because it's how those funds are going to be handled. That's
Okay.
the critical component. So yeah, so obviously we would want New World to be at the forefront of that. And but I will look into that. I'm glad you reminded me. There was a time a couple of years ago that the training on crypto was hot and heavy. In fact, I was working with a gal that had come out with a designation on that, and they it just kind of faded away. I don't see her teaching on it anymore. But you kind of spurred me to go ahead and say, wait a minute, what has been happening in this arena? Who is really teaching it? And was it kind of a flash in the pan? Is it been put on hold? Is it coming back? I'll find out.
Okay.
Carol, you said you had one?
No, I'm going to come across that.
No, I'm sorry, CB. I was saying Carol posted in the chat that she had a potential one to hit me up with. So there's 18 of you on there, on the call here. Not one of you has an objection that someone has thrown your way about signing the BBA, about signing a listing agreement, paying your commission, the length of the listing. None of these situations have happened to any of you that you can think off the top of your head right now? Well, I get it if you're
Yeah,
brand new. You have a good reason.
I never experienced it. I don't know.
No, you will.
I've had a couple of situations, but not along those terms. It was mainly during the first conversation. And they would say, I have so many agents calling me, all of you say the same thing, and everything I tried to say is like, I heard it before. I heard that before.
So give me a little bit more context. What were you doing? What were you calling? Were you calling someone about, was it a FISBO? Was what?
I had called and expired.
Okay, you called expired. Well, what was
Yeah.
how did you lead? What was your opening line to the expired? How did you start the conversation?
I believe it was someone lines of, I told them who I was, and I said, yeah, I noticed that your property had, expired. I was just calling to see, how I can help and, what happened. And then he was like, oh, another agent. He said, I had thousands of agents call me and they all say the same thing. I said, well, you haven't given me the opportunity to show you, what I can present you to how I can sell your property. He said, well, it doesn't matter. He said, because the buyer is, doing the buyback. So, I'm not going to even bother by going relisting or anything like that. But I've heard that before where they say, we're all saying the same thing.
Well, yeah, because we all say the same thing. It's like, come up with a new pickup line, man. I've heard that one before. So knowing that, you got to try to add some humor or some kind of lightness to it. So for example, if I called you right now and I said, hi, is this Carol? You will say, yes, Carol. Hey,
Yes.
Carol, Tony Martinez here with LPT Realty. I noticed I'm probably not the only one that's calling you. I'm sure you've had calls already. I noticed your home listing expired. Yeah. I'm confused, and maybe you can help me with this. They're going to say, what are you confused about? Well, in looking at the photos, the home is gorgeous. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm having a hard time processing, why did it expire? What happened? And the person can say, well, the agent, this and this and that. And I go, oh, okay. So you had some issues with the agent. Yeah. Anything else? Was it anything besides maybe the agent not living up to your expectation? Was there anything else that maybe could have caused it? Yeah. Well, maybe the price. I go, yeah, maybe the price and everything. Yeah, because oftentimes price does play a big role in it. I go, so listen, so I guess you're staying put. You don't really need to sell, or the reasons why you wanted to sell are still valid, and selling is something you're still willing to consider. And then the person goes, you mind if I ask, why were you selling? And I goes, well, it's because we wanted to move next to our grandkids. They live in Texas now. And I go, and your grandkids don't want you to live next to them now? No, of course they do. You don't want to live next to your grandkids anymore? Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like your grandkids want you to live there and you want to live there. And what's stopping you from being together is selling this house. And if I can put two and two together, you maybe had the wrong agent and maybe price played a little bit of role. Am I anywhere close? Am I warm? I go, yeah. I go, okay, so what do I do this? Can I just stop by, look at it, and just tell you right at the top what I think might have been the reason why it didn't sell? And if that leads to a conversation on how I can help you, great. And if it doesn't, hey, no skin off my nose. But I'm willing to come by. Is today okay or is tomorrow better? Now, did that sound a little different from maybe how most people handle a call like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a conversation I had. Now, if someone says, Tony, where'd you come up with that? It's just here. It's here. You think I've ever had that conversation with someone before? I'm falling back. I'm falling back on my training. Okay. So I don't take offense. I'm lighthearted about it. I'm empathetic to their cause. I'm actually interested in what they went through. And I'm not walking in out of the gate saying, hey, I'm calling you because I saw your listing expired and I want to see maybe I can be the one that can help you sell. So that's the kind of stuff I want you guys to role play with each other, okay? And when you start feeling natural, like Evita says, sounds very, very natural, you'll know when you're good. You know when you're ready. And let me tell you something, no one's perfect. You're not going to get every single one. You just got to get to the point where you feel there's no one that could do a better job than me in this scenario at this point in time. When you have that confidence and everything else, things come together for you. Do we want to try to do one more before we conclude? Or is that it for tonight? All right. So what are the assignments? A lot like the first time, because a lot of you didn't do the assignments the first time. So you have an opportunity. You got a week to knock out the formula, activate your Lofty. Now, if you've activated Lofty or will be, take training. It doesn't do you any good if you don't know how to use it. Every week they have Lofty training. There's videos available left and right. You have got to commit to learning how to use it. Find out if there's anybody within Xtreme that's really, really, really good at working Lofty and buy them lunch. Offer to buy them coffee for them maybe to show some tricks that they learned. Now, no sooner do you activate Lofty, then you can activate your website. And then once you have your website, you know where you can get your app. We'll touch on that next week. I promise we'll touch on that next week. All right, daily activities, accountability buddy. I think some of you are already there. The rest of you need to knock that out. I think that if you are going into next week and you don't have an accountability buddy, then it's not going to happen. You got to make that commitment now. You got to get outside your comfort zone and find someone, okay? List your goals. All right, one last thing I added this time around. How many of you, I'm going to put you on the spot. I want transparency, not about embarrassment, but transparency. And some of you have a very valid reason, excuse, because you're new. How many of you have never ordered your sample listing power pack? You do not have a listing power pack right now that if you needed to go to a listing presentation tomorrow, you already have it with you and you're ready to go. Now, Tone, Anthony, you may still be grandfathered in, bro. You got to go through the marketing department and see if you can still come in because you are part of Xtreme when we joined. Okay, who else doesn't have one? I'm bad. All right, curable. All right, Lewis has his. Anna, you're newer, so you get a kind of a pass. Who else? Monique, you're newer as well, but we're going to take care of that this week, right? Tomorrow, right? All they need is you just have to they order it based on what's in your Connect. When you go into Connect and you go into the profile, that's where you upload your photo. That's where you select the color scheme that you're going to use going forward. It's super simple. And then once you have all that, ordering all of your marketing pieces is so quick, so easy to do. All right, CB's got his. All right, so you get the feel of this, right? A lot of you do not have it, all right? Get on it. Get on it, because you cannot go into the later stages of this training and not have the most basic of items covered, all right? Oh, Anna has a good question. I think Gabi may have the answer to this too. A lot of folks have used AI for the photo, and they turn out great. Just make sure it doesn't show you with 6 fingers or eight toes or something like that. But yeah, it could be great. Yeah, why not? Okay. All right, guys, listen, I can't thank you enough for being so patient and committed. Yesterday never happened. So the fact that we pivoted and you were able to do it is wonderful. I'm proud of you guys. I love you guys. I'll get the recording out to you as soon as I can. Don't forget to be active in the chat. Post your questions. I'm also going to be looking for some success stories by next week and some challenges that you're encountering, because we're all going to go through it. We're going to get through it together. God bless you guys.
Hey, Tony, I have one quick question. You said send to Hannah for that flyer, my photo, and what else?
Well, she needs your name,
Uh-huh.
your photo, and your phone number.
Okay. All
I
right.
think that's basically it. I may be missing something, but we'll get that going. And Jeanette, please make sure that that's Hannah's task. And
I've already sent her an email, but if you would please send them to me first, because she's not going to know anything until tomorrow. So
yeah, she's gonna walk in and say, "What happened?"
exactly.
Yeah,
So send them over to me.
Post your email address here, dear.
Janae, I think you already have my picture, but do I need to send you another picture?
Yeah,
For
she's
this,
not
I
gonna-
would. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be easier that way.
Mhm.
So send it to there, and then Hannah works on. Well, no, hold on one second. What's today? Thursday? Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. Yeah, Hannah will be in the office tomorrow. So don't wait, because she's not going to be there all day. So if you get it to Jeanette tonight or tomorrow, then those could be the first things that she knocks out. Okay. But there's no reason why 15 of you can't be promoting this event starting with tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Have a nice evening.
All
Talk to
right.
you
Good
later.
night. Good night, everyone.